zoom up for me for a second so I can get you.
How are we doing today? Good. Well, obviously, we're excited about the opportunity that we have to play in the SEC championship game. You've heard me before talk about what a great venue this is, what a great opportunity it is for players. And it's always a great competitive venue because you're always playing against a very highly ranked, talented team, and certainly no question about that when it comes to playing against Georgia, who is, in my opinion, one of the best, most complete teams in the country. There's really not much to say about the Auburn game. I think the most important thing is that, we look at the film and correct the things that we need to correct, try to use that as an opportunity for us to improve. But I think the most important thing is that we have really good focus and preparation, in practice, this week for this particular game and this particular opponent. It's great to see two of the Pro Offensive Player of the Week in the SEC. Georgia is, I've already said, one of the most complete teams in the country. I think Kirby's done a fantastic job there in terms of taking the players that were there and developing them in the style that he wants them to be, and doing a great job of recruiting to get new players to come and, buy into their system. They had some very impressive wins this year. They're one of the top-ranked teams on offense in terms of point production, ability to run the ball, make explosive plays. The quarterback does a really good job for them. Defensively, they're one of the top teams in the country as well in scoring defense and yards against, and very sound in what they do and very well coached on both sides of the ball. They have really good specialists. Their special teams are really strong. So when I say this is a complete team, I mean that in all phases of the game they do a really, really good job, and it's going to be the biggest challenge we've had to date.
Coach, we'll start over here with Ben.
What kind of a challenge is Georgia on special teams, particularly in their punt return game?
Well, Hardeman is really, really a good returner, and they've made some explosive returns this year. So we'll have to do a great job of covering. We also have to protect, especially after last week where we had an error in protection and, got a punt blocked. But they do a great job of holding up, and he's a very dangerous returner. Obviously, to me, the best we've seen all year.
Coach in the middle here with Michael.
Where do you see the biggest differences in Georgia this year compared to last year?
Well, I hate comparison questions, but they haven't really dramatically changed. I think they've made a lot of improvement. I think their efficiency on offense has been very good all year long. I think the quarterback is more experienced, actually playing even better than he did a year ago, which was really, really good. They have new backs, but those backs are very, very productive. And I think they have outstanding skill guys that have all improved over a year ago. Defensively, their scheme has not changed a lot. Some of their players have, but they still have really, really good players, and they play well together. They're well coached, and nothing easy against them.
We'll stay over there with Ross.
Nick, you mentioned Georgia's defensive scheme. How does it remind you of your own?
Well, there's some similarities. I think they pick and choose the things that their players can do the best, and take those parts and really work to do them well. I think we all try to improve our system each and every year, so there is some changes that we always make, and they've certainly made some that have made them more effective. So I think they do a really good job. There are some similarities to what they do and what we do.
Come back on the right with Charlie.
Where do you see Jake Fromm improve since last year's championship game?
Well, I thought Jake was playing, really well last year. Played really well in our game, and I think he just gotten more confident with his knowledge and experience. Having played more games, I think he gets them in the right plays. He's smart. If he knows what you're in on defense, they're going to, he's going to throw it to the right place and do the right thing. So his efficiency and execution, I think, is what makes him an exceptionally good player, and he can make the throws that he needs to make, and he certainly helps all the players around him play better.
Staying in the middle here with John Zener.
Kirby said you guys had one of the most elite group of skill players I've seen assembled in college football. But my question is, how good a job have the offensive coaches and Tua done of making sure that you're utilizing all those guys? They're all getting a chance to make plays.
Well, I think they all are getting a chance to make plays, so I would say they're doing a really good job of helping utilize the skill players that we have, whether it's the runners, the receivers, the tight ends. And that's basically what you like to do on offense, and hope that your system, reflects that. And I think the coaches have done a really good job of making sure that happens in a positive way for us. And the challenge is to continue to do it against the next opponent.
Go in the back with Cecil.
Coach, in dealing with the half suspension, how does Jared's absence affect your dime package? How much time would you be expected to run anyway? What's the substitution?
I don't know, but as soon as I get out here, I'll call Kirby and tell him exactly what we're going to do, so they would be able to prepare for that and all that. So I'm not willing to share what we're going to do right now. But I'll call him, then you call him and ask him, and he can tell you. Okay.
Come back over here with Mark.
Just from your film study, what makes DeAndre Swift and Elijah Holyfield such a dynamic duo at running back?
Well, they're very talented players. I think they're different, in the way their style of running, but both are very effective in the way they run. I think their offensive line deserves a ton of credit for the way they've sort of developed and the effectiveness of their running attack, regardless of which one of the backs are in the game. But I think both those guys are extremely talented. They're ferocious competitors, and both have been very, very productive. So probably as good a duo of guys that we've seen all year long.
Over on the left.
Now, looking back on last year's game, looking back on the decision to change quarterbacks midway through the game, the national championship game, in retrospect, how difficult was that decision? How daring do you think it was? And maybe course changing?
I've talked about this 1,000 times. It was what we felt we needed to do to help our team have a chance to be successful in the game. And it's really as simple as that. And it worked out, so everybody thinks it was a good decision. If it wouldn't have worked out, everybody would be talking about what a bad decision it was. So I had lots of confidence in both players. I have a lot of confidence in both players this year at that position. And I feel both are capable of going in and executing and doing a good job for us if need be.
Okay, right here in the front with Mike.
Coach, you said after the game you weren't sure why the team's gotten off to slow starts. I don't know how much more time you put into looking at that, and what are some things that you can do, maybe not schematically, but from a mental standpoint, to get your team ready for a fast start?
Well, I think that there is something to you always want to make sure your team is physically fresh. But the more difficult thing to determine is are the players getting mentally tired? And I think that you want to make sure that both parts of that equation are in order to be fresh and ready to go. I can't say 100% for sure if that's had anything to do with how we started in the games, the last two games. If we were physically tired, we wouldn't be able to come out and play so well in the second half. But if we were mentally tired, maybe that affected our preparation going into the game, which affected how we started. And I would say in this last game, based on the mental errors that we made and the fundamental execution not being as sharp as it needed to be, that may have been the case. And hopefully we can get everybody sort of turned around this week. And I think at this time of the season, maybe you got to cut back a little bit some of the things that you do and try to make sure that you're getting all the reps you need to prepare for the game, but not physically and mentally wearing the team out.
Got time for two more, Chris, and then Joe Goodman.
How much better has Tua gotten at kind of taking what the defense has given him?
Well, I think he's always been pretty good at that. That's been one of his strengths. He's very instinctive, and he reads things quickly and makes quick decisions. But I think his knowledge and experience has grown, and there are certainly things that he can continue to grow on that would help him eliminate, maybe some of the negative plays, although there haven't been a ton of them. We want to make sure that we try to minimize those as much as we possibly can. And I think he's gotten better and better as the season has gone on. I think we played better defensive teams the last, Mississippi State, Auburn, and certainly Georgia is, one of the best teams that we played against defensively. So making those kind of choices and decisions quickly is going to be, pretty important in this game as well.
Last one with Joe.
Nick, what has Georgia's defense been able to do this year to limit the long passing plays from the line of scrimmage, and how is that going to affect how you approach this game?
Well, I think one of the goals you always have on defense is to try to eliminate explosive plays. I think one of the goals you always have on offense is try to make explosive plays. And I think people that are successful on defense are able to take away explosive plays. They have a very good secondary. They have a good scheme. Their players do a really good job of executing it. They disguise the coverage as well on the back end. So the quarterback's going to have to decide where to go and what to do after the fact, in the game. But I also think it's going to be important on both sides who wins the sort of turnover or explosive play combinations, in games like this, because I do think they have a significant impact, on the outcome of the game.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.